I'd like to give all glory and praise and honor unto the Most High, and we're going to get into it today, man. Today what we're going to be talking about is the different levels of heavens. Because when you think of the heavens, or when we think of it, we just think of it as one place. The skies is also considered the heavens. But going further up, is divided into different sections, and that's what we're gonna look. That's what we're gonna be talking about today, man. And I'm gonna be reading from parts from the second book of Enoch, and I'm going to be reading from this book called Testaments of the Ancient Patriarchs. And of course the Bible too. So that's what we're going to be getting into today, man. And a lot of people, they don't really like to deal with the second book of Enoch or the third, but it was some good things in there. Because I usually just stick with the original book of Enoch, but there's some good things in the second one. Considering the different levels of the heavens. So we're gonna get into it today, man. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, 2-4, and it's talking about Paul right here. It said, "I knew a man in Yeshua above 14 years ago, whether in the body I cannot tell, or whether out of the body I cannot tell. The Most High knoweth, only the Most High knows. Such an one caught up to the third heaven," man. So you see, Paul said right here, look, man, he was caught up into the third heaven. And he didn't know whether he was in his own body or he didn't know whether he was out of his body. Only the Most High knew. So that's how real, his experience was, when he went up to the third heaven. Let's keep going. "And I knew such a man, whether in the body or out of the body, I cannot tell. The Most High knew it, only the Most High knew. How he hath caught up into paradise. How he was caught up into paradise and heard unspeakable words, which is not lawful to utter," man. So you see that? Once again, man, Paul got caught up into the third heaven. And he's saying right here, he didn't know whether he was in his own body or whether he was out of his body, whether it was out of body experience. That's how realistic it was to him, man. Oh, man, that's powerful, man. Let's keep going, man. So right now we in the Testament of the Patriarchs. This was the book I'm reading from right here. And this is Levi's chapter. It says right here, "Then I fell asleep." Remember that. I highlighted that. I underlined that. "Then I fell asleep." He was asleep. "And I beheld a high mountain. It was Aspis in Abel Mal. The heavens opened, and an angel of the Most High said to me, 'Levi, enter.' And I traveled into the first and into the second heaven. There was a body of water between them. When I came to the third heaven, it was far brighter than the first two, and its height was without bounds." Oh, man, I'm going to stop right there for a second. You know what I mean? I'm going to stop right there. So you see, Levi was taken up to the to the upper portions of the heavens. So you see, he said right here, he traveled to the first and the second heaven. But then he said, Levi knew that he was asleep. So more than likely, Paul didn't know whether he was in his body or out of body. More than likely, he was asleep when he got taken up to the third heaven. Because right here, Levi saying, look, he was asleep when this happened. So he's saying, I traveled into the second and the first and the second heaven. And he's saying right here, there's a body of water between them. Oh, man, let's take a look at that. So right here, we know that the earth is a fixed foundation. It's flat. And this is the biblical cosmology of how it looks. So, according to scripture. So, Levi is saying that he got taken up into the first and the second heaven. And then he said there was a water between it. So, you see, above the firmament there's water. He's like the scripture said, there's waters above. So as he's going up, he's saying he's seen water, man. There was a body of water between the first and the second heavens, man. Okay, now let's jump to Enoch, second Enoch. So right here, let's jump to second Enoch. You know what I mean? So right here in second Enoch, it's saying right here, the first heaven, clouds, stars, snow, and morning dew, located atop the clouds and inhabited by angels, by winged angels. This is where the rulers and elders of the constellations reside, here with 200 angels. Nearby is a great sea, larger than any of the earth's oceans. Oh man, while the heavenly storehouses for both snow and morning dew are located here. So this is what they're saying in Second Enoch that was there. He said it was a great sea that was larger than any of the oceans, man. And you see right there in the ancient book of the patriarchs, the Testament of the Patriarchs, is saying that he saw a sea. So can you imagine that, man? Do you know how big our oceans are, our seas are? And he's saying that the seas that he saw, it was larger than any of the earth's oceans, man. That's crazy. So that's why the Most High said, in the scriptures, man, the heavens can't be measured. Neither the earth can't be measured either. He's saying, like, look, if we're able to measure the earth, all the heavens, he'll cast away the seed of Israel, man. That's what he said. Oh, man. So he said the sea was larger than any of the earth's oceans, man. Oh, man. Let's keep going. And I forgot to say that, the differences between the Second Enoch and the accounts of what is telling you right here in the ancient testaments of the patriarchs of Levi, in Second Enoch is saying that there's 10 heavens, 10 levels, 10 heavens. But in the ancient testament of patriarchs, they said that they're saying that there's 7 heavens. But in 7 makes a lot more sense to me. Why? Because the Most High's number of completion is 7. So that's why I felt like 7 makes more sense. So I just had to make that clear before we keep going. So right here, once again, Levi, he traveled into the first and the second heaven, and there was a body of water between them. When I came to the third heaven, it was far brighter than the first 2, and its height was without bounds, man. Let's keep going. I asked the angel, why is the third heaven brighter than the first 2? The angel replied, you will see 4 other heavens brighter than these, without comparison. Oh, man. So you see Levi right here, he's asking him, why is this heaven brighter than the first 2? Oh, man. Let's keep going. Let's jump down where it said 7 heavens explained. Listen, concerning the 7 heavens, the lowest is darker because it is near all the iniquities of men. The second has fire, snow, and ice, and is ready for the day of the Lord, when the righteous judgment of the Most High is poured out in vengeance on the wicked, man. Let's stop right there for a second, man. He said, concerning the heavens, man, the lowest is darker, The lowest is darker because it's more sin. It's near all the iniquities of men. And he said the second level has fire, snow, and ice ready for the day of the Lord, when the judgment of the Most High is poured out. What does that sound like, man? What scripture does that sound like? Familiar to? Hold on, let's bring it up. Job 38, 22 through 23. Hast thou entered into the treasures of snow? Or hast thou seen the treasures of hail, which I have reserved against the time of trouble, against the day of battle and war? So the Most High said he has treasures of snow, treasures of hail, reserved for the day of trouble and battle, man. Man, what does it say in Revelations? Towards the end, it's gonna be, hail coming down the size of talents, man. So right here, he's saying right here, asking Job, hast thou seen the treasures of snow, or have thou seen the treasures of hail, which I have reserved against the time of trouble, against the day of battle and war? So you see that? Levi said he's seen fire, snow, and ice on the second level of heaven, man. Oh, man. Let's jump back to Enoch chapter 2. So remember, Levi was saying, hey, why is the third heaven brighter than the first and the second? So right here in Enoch chapter 2, it's saying right here, the second heaven is a prison of darkness, of death and despair, a place of darkness where the angels of darkness who join Satan and in his original rebellion have been imprisoned. hanging from chains awaiting judgment day. Oh man. He's saying like it was dark. He's saying, why is the first and the second level so dark and the third bright? And the angel was explaining to him, look, man, it's because it's more sin on the lower levels. The sins of men are on the lower levels, man. Oh man, and it's different, man. When you read this and you read the Testament of the Patriarchs of book, man, it's not the same, but you see some similarities in what they're talking about. Their descriptions of the levels of heavens is different, but there's some similarities, man. So let's keep going. In the third are the hosts of the armies which are ordained for the day of judgment, to work vengeance on the spirits of deceit and of Baal. The top four heavens are holy, for in the highest of all dwells the great glory, in the holies of holies, far above all holiness, man. Let's stop right there, man. So you see that? The third, he's saying right here, the third have armies, man, ordained for the day of judgment, to work vengeance on the spirits of deceit. Oh man. And he's saying the top four heavens are holy, for in the highest of highest all dwells great glory, in the holies of holies, far beyond all holiness, man. Oh man, let's bring some scriptures up, man. Deuteronomy chapter 10 verse 14. Behold, the heaven and the heaven of heavens is the Most High's, the earth also all that is therein. He said the heavens and the heavens of heavens is his, man. So what's the angel was telling her, man? The top four belongs to the holiness, the holies of holies, the heavens and the heavens of heavens is the Most High, man. One more. 1 Kings 8:27. But will the Most High indeed dwell on earth? Behold, the heavens and heavens of heavens cannot contain thee. But how much less is his house that I have built, man? The heavens and the heavens of heavens, man, can't contain them, man. Oh, man. So you see, it's a little distinction. You got the heavens and then the heavens of heavens. You know what I mean? So you see the third, man, has host of armies, and the top four heavens are holy, for the highest of all highest dwells in the great glory. In the holies of holies, far above all holiness. Let's keep going. In the six are the angels. In the six are the angels of the presence of the Most High, who minister and make propitiation to the Lord for all the sins of the righteous committed in ignorance, and they offer to the Most High a reasonable, sweet smelling savor, and a bloodless offering. So you see, you have angels right here who's ministering, for the souls that committed sins in ignorance, on the sixth level. In the fifth heaven are the angels who bear the answers to the angels in the presence of the Lord. And in the fourth heavens are thrones and dominions, in which hymns are ever offered to the Most High. Oh man, you see that? So the fifth are angels who bear answers to the angels in the presence of the Most High, and the fourth level is heavens and thrones and dominions, which hymns are offered unto him. So that's it, man. And you see, when Enoch has, like I said, Enoch has 10 levels, and this right here, it explains it as only 7 levels. And like I said before, 7 makes a lot more sense to me because of his 7 is his number of completion. So you see in ancient testaments of the patriarch, on the 6th level on the heavens, it talks about the angels that's makes intercession for those that sins out of ignorance. And right here in the second book of Enoch, it's saying right here, there's angels on the 6th level. They keep a record of everyone's good or bad deeds. So, oh man, this is interesting, man. So let's jump back to Paul real quick. Once again, this is where we kind of started. Remember, and I'm bringing this up so you guys to have a look at it one more time. Remember, Paul got caught up into the third heaven, and he said he didn't know whether he was in body or out of body. Now let's go to the second book of Enoch and see what it says about the third heaven. What's there. So right here, the third heaven. You remember, this third heaven was brighter than the first two. This is what Levi was asking, the angels. Why is the third heaven brighter than the first two? And you got the explanation already. So right here, he's saying the third heaven, mercy of paradise and justice of hell. He said a paradise reserved for the good and righteous, consisting of a fragrant orchard grove and a fiery golden tree of life in the center where the Most High rests when visiting. So there's a tree of life in there. The roots of the tree of life extend downwards into the Garden of Eden. So you see that? He said the roots of this tree of life extend downwards into the Garden of Eden. Now remember that one video I did is titled Ye are less of the stature. No, excuse me. Ye are less of stature than those that came before you. And I talk about, the Most High, cutting down those trees. So right here, he's saying right here, there's a roots, that extend down into the Garden of Eden, man. Think about how big that tree is. And even in that video, I was telling you, man, like these trees, reached all the way up to the heavens, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. So you see, there was a paradise. So more than likely what Paul probably saw, was a paradise. Oh, man. So right here, below and there was 4 springs flowing with milk and honey, wine and oil, 300 angels, 10 in the garden. And in contrast, the northern section is a terrible place, icy frozen darkness with a river of fire flowing through it, and is inhabited by cruel and fierce angels with weapons who torture those sinners who have been condemned there. So it seems like, it was a paradise, but also a place of, there was also a place, he said, to the north where where people get tortured. Hold up, let's just jump back to the Testament of the Patriarchs and see what that says. So he said right here, in the third are the hosts of armies which are ordained for the day of judgment to work vengeance on the spirits of deceit and of Baal. So there's angels there to work vengeance on wicked doers too on the third level. And you see, in the second book of Enoch, it was a paradise, but also he said to the north, there was angels there too, who was torturing sinners, man. Oh, man. But Paul called it a paradise, man. He called it a paradise. Oh, man. So let's jump to see, I'm not gonna read all the levels in the second Enoch. Because I don't want to make this video too long. So let's jump to the final level, which I said, which is the 10th. It said it's the 10th heaven. It says right here, cherubim, Sephirim, and the throne of thunder and lightning, seen as the highest of the heavens, as well as the actual location of the Lord God's mighty throne of judgment. Typically, this is where the Most High holds councils with his angels and saints, making his decisions, handing down his judgments, and commanding his countless angels who surround him as they sing songs of praise and glory, man. So it's slightly different, because I remember, I think in Testament of Patriarchs, it said on the 4th level, they were singing and praises and things like that. But it's saying right here on the 10th level, in the book of Enoch, is the Most High's throne, and they're singing and praises and all that going on. See right here at the bottom, it says, and in the 4th heaven are thrones and dominions in which hymns are offered to the Most High. But they didn't really, but right here, he didn't really go in on what's on the seventh level though. He just said like, you know, the top four heavens are for the holy, for the highest of highest dwells in great glory above them, you know. So I'm pretty sure there's singing and things up there too, you know, around the Most High's throne. Oh man. So you see there's angels that surround the Most High, man, and sing praise. Is right here, according to 2nd Enoch. I mean, oh man. Countless angels, it says. Right here, Revelation 11:9. And the temple of the Most High was open in heaven, and there was seen in this temple the ark of his testament, and there was lightnings and voices and thunderings and earthquake and great hail, man. So this is what's surrounding his throne according to Revelations, man. Lightnings and voices and thunderings and earthquakes and hail, man. You know what I mean? Oh man. But this sound like, oh man, this sound like the lower levels though, you know, more like level 2, you know. But we don't, oh man, we don't. He said that the temple of the Most High was open in heaven, so we don't know from what perspective they're looking at, you know. Oh man, from what level? Revelation 5:11, and I beheld, and I heard the voice of many angels round about the throne, you know, and the beasts and the elders, and the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000 and thousands of thousands, you know. So many angels, the voices of many angels around his throne, man. 10,000s of 10,000s, like it was a lot of angels up there, man. Oh man. So, and what did Paul said he heard? He said right here in Revelations 5:11, it said he heard voices of many angels. Let's go back to Paul. Verse 4. He said he was caught up into paradise and heard unspeakable words, man. Unspeakable words, which is not lawful for man to utter. So he heard things, man. Oh man, that we can't even fathom. Oh man. So Job 1:6-7. So I'm reading this because, you know, it got me to thinking, like, Satan also has access to the heavens, man. Now, what level is he allowed to get up to? I don't know. But it says right here, now there was a day when the sons of God, that's the angels, came to present themselves before the Most High, and Satan came also among them. You know, so he still have access to the heavens. You know, now is it? You know, I mean, and the Most High, you know, he dwells in, his spirit is in all levels, of course. He's everywhere. He's omnipresent, you know, but we don't know what level he's allowed to get up to. And I doubt he's allowed to get up to the top levels, man. You know, I don't know. But he still has some access to the heavens, the heavenly realm. So, oh, man. So let's take a look at this chart, man. It was kind of interesting. You see, you have, you know, right there in the middle of the earth, you have it says the paradise, and then you have right across it from hell. So that's, you know, Abraham's, that sounds like Abraham's bosom on the left-hand side where it says paradise, and then, you know, and the great gulf in the middle, and the place where people was being tormented, you know, according to the scriptures. Now, when Yeshua HaMashiach died along the two thieves, you know, remember, had the one that believed in him, and he said, you know, you will be with me in paradise. This is what it was talking about, you know, because the scripture says when Yeshua HaMashiach, when he died, he went to hell. Hell is just like, well, it's different meanings of hell, you know. It's just Hades, the underworld. You know, he went into that paradise. You know, this is where he went. You know, with the righteous souls. You know, the grave. Let's bring that scripture up real quick. So when he said, when that thief said, he believed, and he said, "You will be with me in paradise today." Then when Yeshua HaMashiach, took his final breath, and this is where he went. He went down there, for the 3 days. Acts 2:31. See, he seen that before he spake of the resurrection of Yeshua, that his soul was not left in hell, neither did his flesh see corruption. You see that? His soul was not left in hell, because he resurrected, and that's just talking about the underworld, Hades, not a place of torment, Let's go back to this chart real quick because it's interesting. So if you see it at the top, it says third heaven. So it seems like this third heaven where what Paul saw was like a new dwelling place for those that was down there in Abraham's bosom. Because in the scriptures it talk about him taking souls up, to with him, and this third heaven, it seems like a temporary holding place for the souls that passed, rather than being down in the underworld in Hades. It's interesting, man. So, that's it, man. Hopefully this was edifying, man. This was interesting, man, about the different levels, and all praises to the Most High.